ladies and gentlemen, I wish to extend a warm welcome to all delegates from our country, from the continent, as well as the globe, who are attending the iTU TELECOM World 2018. On behalf of the people and the provincial government of KwaZulu-Natal, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the leadership of the International Telecommunication Union for allowing us as the country and our province to host this very important conference. Over time, we've worked hard to position the province of KwaZulu-Natal as a home of innovation where our citizens are an integral part of information society. We know that the digital age is shaping every facet of our life. This is because the new technologies and the digital disruptions affect how we live, how we relate to each other, and how the world functions as a global village. It was in 1964 that the Canadian scholar Marshall McLuhan had this to say, and I quote, "The new electronic independence recreates the world in the image of a global village," close quote. Society was skeptical of his words when he predicted the collapse of national and continental boundaries. But as we speak today, the world has become an integrated mass where information, services, and commodities are interchanged through the touch of just a button. Individuals and societies are interconnected through the new digital advancement that are influencing the pace of global change in terms of industrialization and social transformation. This global village, which seeks to create a single society in the world, presents both opportunities but as well as challenges. In the global village we're talking about, we have citizens who are a mile ahead in terms of socio-economic development and are enjoying a high standard of living, which is enhancing their access to technological advancement. On the other hand, we also have many more people who lack access to adequate connectivity, which is the backbone and the lifeblood of the modern economy, and those are isolated from the mainstream economy. In today's knowledge economy, telephone, connectivity, and the new astute workforce will be central in strategies to grow economic fortunes of any nation. For our province, our country, and the continent to go forward into the development of the fourth industrial revolution, we need to pay attention to our ICT and industrial development policies. As KwaZulu-Natal, we are committed to creating a knowledge society that will meaningfully participate in the development of our country. And therefore, in this regard, we wish to express our appreciation to the national government, especially the Department of Telecommunication, for prioritizing one of our districts, the district of Umgungundlovu, through the rollout of the nationwide broadband network. We also know that the hosting of this conference will also benefit our province in terms of number of legacy projects that are going to be implemented in this country. This will therefore create a platform that will coordinate policy development, rollout of skills for fourth industrial revolution toward strengthening not only our country, but the continent's digital entrepreneurship ecosystem, as well as its capacity and the capacity of the continent to participate meaningfully in this digital revolution. On our side, We will continue with the rollout of the public Wi-Fi spots throughout public facilities in our province. We therefore wish to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the beautiful province of KwaZulu-Natal, where there is only one season. You find that throughout the world, you've got 4, but in ours, you've got summer, 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 and summer again. We call on you to explore the beautiful city of Durban. I thank you, Program Director.
We will soon establish a Digital Industrial Revolution Commission, which will include the private sector and civil society to ensure that our country is in a position to seize the opportunities and manage the challenges of rapid advances in information and communication technology.
Creativity, together with innovation, have long driven human development throughout the course of history. Our own country's ICT journey thus far has been nothing short of a success story, with about 98% broadband coverage for South African households and more than 1 cell phone per person in the country. And most recently, internet service providers have started rolling out high-speed fiber internet connections. Apart from that, in South Africa, the Square Kilometre Array project is a great example of a promising knowledge-based initiative that contributes to the country's economic growth.
ICT in South Africa, they continue to contribute significantly to our economy. They are one of the fastest growing sectors, following the financial sector. And currently, it is contributing just over 3% of our GDP, and is continuing to grow.
This did not come as a surprise, of course. As a government, we took a conscious decision to say, let's invest more in infrastructure. But most importantly, the programs that we've been running together with our partners to make sure that we encourage and promote innovation is what has led to this.
We have already quite a number of these special industrial zones where entrepreneurs and investors can put their factories and produce affordable gadgets for South Africans while they are creating jobs for the millions of youth who are hoping for those job opportunities.
The great thing that we have done as the ANC government is to make sure that we invest more on infrastructure, but most importantly, we had encouraged the private sector to come and deploy or make their investment.
It is worth remembering that as 2018 marks the centenary of the birth of Nelson Mandela, it is through campaigns like Mandela Day that have introduced a tool to honor his legacy in the context of working to meet the needs of local communities.
We are very pleased to be welcoming you as delegates to this beautiful country of Nelson Mandela on the year where we are celebrating the centenary of this icon, former President Nelson Mandela, and Mama Albertina Sisulu.
We celebrated at this department because we were like, wow, here's our opportunity finally to say, let's make a difference.
Mandela was invited as a president to go and address the similar conference in Geneva, where he stressed the importance of bridging the digital divide and left no one and bridge the digital divide between the haves and the have-nots, and where he stressed the importance of the ICT in ensuring that we accelerate the development of humanity.
Don't forget that Tata has been one of the few heads of states that have managed to address the iTU itself, but most importantly, we had to say, let's come harness everything that you're doing worldwide, bring it to Africa, and where else would you bring it to if you don't start in the land of Nelson Mandela in South Africa? Understanding very well that this South Africa that we're talking about has a responsibility not only to its citizens, but to the continent.
We are readying ourselves for the 4th Industrial Revolution.
This is one revolution that we set in South Africa that we've got to take charge of. We've managed to miss on some of the revolutions. We are not where we were supposed to be, but this is one that we have said we're going to leapfrog.
The iTU is prioritizing the participation of the SMME, small businesses, because they are the ones going to come with innovation as a country. We are also contributing to this province in ensuring that people of KwaZulu-Natal are not left behind in the matter of connectivity.
We declared that by 2030 we would have trained 1 million young people, not just on the other skill, but to make sure that on software development we lead.
What we have seen over the last few years was the introduction of the mobile company to fixed line companies. And there are a lot of companies which are also laying down fiber and others laying out data centers and innovation centers. So it is growing in leaps and bounds as we speak.
Let's harness the efforts that we have to make sure that Africa claims its rightful place in the fourth industrial revolution. And therefore, yes, we will produce the real economic freedom fighters, those that make the economy so that they can enjoy it and the children that come after them.
The land of Nelson Mandela boasts of beautiful escarpments, rivers, and valleys that always make South Africa a home to all those visiting our shores. The majestic Table Mountain, the Drakensberg Mountains, and the three rondavels in Mpumalanga make up the beauty of our mountainous valleys. The city of Durban accommodates all types of human habits, with its warm, beautiful weather and beautiful beaches to enjoy your day. The city is not far from the Nelson Mandela capture site, Howick. The beautiful Moses Mabhida Stadium remains an iconic feature in the city. When you travel up north is King Shaga's Kraal and the Mkuze Game Reserve, taking you further north to the never-ending National Kruger Park, which attracts millions of tourists every year.
As we host this conference in Durban, in South Africa, we are very happy that the iTU is also has committed to leave some living legacies in our country. For instance, the iTU, working together with the World Economic Forum, they've committed to build this Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution here in South Africa, which will be based in Pretoria in our research institution called CSIR.
These are the partnerships that we say if we work together to bring together the innovations that are there, we are able to say these are the bankable sectors or components of our sector that we call investors on.
As a country, we are open to investment, and we are encouraging both our national companies and global companies to continue to invest in our economy in this sector.
If we talk of the infrastructure, we still need investors on it. If you talk of all elements actually of the fourth industrial revolution, whether you talk of nanotechnology, whether you talk of artificial intelligence, we are open in that space to say, come invest in South Africa, give us the skills.
We are encouraging, because as you know, companies who invest in fiber and roll out the fiber, because it's a critical backbone for efficient networks of the future, to continue to extend fiber in each and every town and locality in our country.
We're going to walk this path together. Come invest in our country.
Industry analysts for digital transformation practice also agree that the iTU Telecom World Conference 2018 will bring great exposure for South Africa and the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, from far and wide, welcome to the land of Nelson Mandela. Let us build an inclusive digital economy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm sure you heard the Deputy Minister actually putting up a punchy expression, give us the skills. And that is also referred to women of South Africa. Your Excellencies, it is through partnership that this iTU Telecom World is being held. I invite the Governor of Saudi Arabia as the iTU global sponsor, Mr. El Roué, to address the iTU Telecom gathering. May I invite you to the podium, Governor?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فخامة الرئيس سيريل راموفوزا، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسعدني أن أهدي الشكر لحكومة جنوب أفريقيا على استضافة هذا الحدث النوعي وحسن استقبالها وكرم ضيافتها للمشاركين فيه، ومنهم المملكة العربية السعودية التي تشارك بصفتها راعياً بلاتينياً لتيليكوم العالمي الاتحاد الدولي 2018 الذي يجمعنا اليوم في اجتماعه الدوري كل عام بوصفه منصة عالمية لدفع عجلة الابتكار في مجال الاتصالات وتقنية المعلومات وتعزيز فرص التحول الرقمي الذكي وربط المنشآت الصغيرة والمتوسطة بالحكومات والقطاع الخاص لتحقيق فوائد أكبر لشعوب العالم. أيها السيدات والسادة، إن المملكة العربية السعودية معنية بتنمية مجتمع المعلومات والتحول الرقمي، مستثمرة مواردها البشرية والمالية لتحقيق الريادة فيه. وخلال هذه الجهود أعلن خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود أيده الله عن إطلاق رؤية المملكة 2030، فكانت أكبر حافز على مواصلة التميز في هذا المجال باحتواء خطة الرؤية على برنامج التحول الرقمي الهادف إلى بناء حكومة رقمية واقتصاد رقمي ومجتمع رقمي. ثم كان بعد ذلك الإعلان عن إنشاء مدينة الحلم الطموح، مدينة نيوم الذكية برأس مال تطويري يبلغ 500 مليار دولار أمريكي، لتكون نيوم مهداً للثورة الصناعية الرابعة بعدد روبوتات يفوق عدد البشر وحزمة من التقنيات الحديثة كالواقع الافتراضي والذكاء الاصطناعي وأنظمة النقل الذكية وغيرها. ويأتي الإعلان عن هذه المدينة متوازياً مع جهود كبرى تبذلها المملكة العربية السعودية لتحفيز الشباب على الإبداع في مجالات التقنية ودعم مواهبهم وتبني ابتكاراتهم. كان آخرها استضافتها قبل شهر أكتوبر هاكاثون في منطقة الشرق الأوسط، هاكاثون الحج، بمشاركة آلاف المطورين بهدف استقطاب العقول الرائدة في مجال البرمجة والحلول التقنية لتحسين الخدمات المقدمة لحجاج بيت الله الحرام كالأغذية والصحة والحلول المالية والمواصلات وإدارة الحشود وترتيبات السفر والإقامة وإدارة النفايات وحلول التواصل. وقد أثمر ذلك عن تبني عدد من الابتكارات المقدمة من الشباب وتمويلها لتحويلها إلى مشروعات ريادية. أيها السيدات والسادة، لقد حددنا في المملكة العربية السعودية مرتكزات 3 لتحقيق قفزة رقمية تلبي التطلعات المنشودة، وهي تعزيز البنية التحتية وتهيئة البيئة الرقمية الحاضنة للعقول والمهارات وتحقيق الثقافة الرقمية لبناء جيل ريادي. وقد نتج عن ذلك زيادة سرعة الإنترنت 3 أضعاف في سنة واحدة فقط منذ العام 2017 ميلادي، وزيادة تغطية شبكات الجيل الرابع بنسبة 90%، مع اتخاذ خطوات جادة لتمكين الجيل الخامس وإطلاق تجارب فريدة تعد الأولى من نوعها في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا. وقد أثمر ذلك عن تصنيف المملكة العربية السعودية ضمن الدول الأعلى نضوجاً في تنظيم قطاع الاتصالات وتقنية المعلومات على مستوى العالم وفقاً للاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات، واعتبار سوقها للاتصالات وتقنية المعلومات الأكبر في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا، بإنفاق يتجاوز 36 مليار دولار أمريكي داخل وسط مجتمعي يتجاوز عدد مستخدمي الإنترنت فيه 90% من النساء والرجال، وبحجم تجارة إلكترونية تبلغ 8 مليار دولار أمريكي جعلها أكبر أسواق المنطقة. أيها السيدات والسادة، إن المملكة العربية السعودية منذ أصبحت عضواً في الاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات عام 1949 وعضواً في مجلسه عام 1965، وهي تسخر إمكانياتها وخبراتها البشرية لدعم أنشطته والمشاركة في محافله المختلفة، إضافة لكونها من أكبر الداعمين الماليين له. ليظل الاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات هذه الجهة الدولية المرجعية في شؤون الاتصالات وتقنية المعلومات، وليعمل هذا الاتحاد على تسخير الاتصالات وتقنية المعلومات من أجل تحقيق تنمية دولية شاملة ومستدامة. وختاماً، أؤكد أن المملكة العربية السعودية عازمة على مواصلة جهودها لدعم الاتحاد وأنشطته واستمرار مواكبته للمستجدات والمتغيرات بما يكفل التنمية الشاملة، ولا سيما للدول النامية والأقل نمواً، وذلك من خلال إعادة ترشحها لعضوية مجلس الاتحاد، وكذلك ترشحها للجنة لوائح الراديو. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Governor. Your Excellencies, it is my pleasure to now call on the Group CEO and President of MTN, Mr. Rob Shatter, as the host country main sponsor to address this gathering.
Program Director, Minister Nomvula Mokonyane, the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services, Dr. Siyabonga Tswele, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, the Secretary General of the iTU, Mr. Zhao, and all heads of regional and international organizations, the Acting Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, Honorable Members of Parliament, members of the diplomatic community, dignitaries, fellow business colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me on behalf of MTN Group to welcome you to the iTU World Telecom and Exhibition Conference 2018. As MTN, we are very proud of our partnership with the Government of South Africa to bring this conference to Africa for the first time. We are excited about the engagements that will take place here between governments, industry experts, and other representatives from around the world on the victories and challenges of the ICT sector. As proud citizens of Africa, we are also excited to showcase the beautiful city of eThekwini, our beloved South Africa, and the proud Africa that is home to so many of us. MTN's theme for this conference is, "Anything is possible when we are connected." This stems from our company's core belief that everyone deserves the benefits of a modern, connected life. Since my appointment as MTN Group CEO, I've been traveling to MTN's different operations, and I've been able to see the impact of mobile connectivity across our sub-Saharan and Middle Eastern markets. I've also seen the real impact of mobile solutions enabled by data and how this is changing the lives of people across all our markets. According to the GSMA, the global mobile subscriber base is expected to increase by nearly 1 billion people in the next few years, having surpassed the 5 billion connected people in 2017. However, despite significant mobile internet penetration growth in recent years, nearly 2 billion of the 5 billion mobile subscribers do not benefit from connectivity. That is, they are unable to enjoy the social and economic benefits of the power of the internet. Great efforts are therefore needed to heed the call of organizations such as the iTU to bridge the digital divide and foster a digital inclusive world. We cannot tackle the challenges of bridging the digital divide without addressing barriers around coverage, affordability and access of handsets and services, and the education of our users. This endeavor is too complex to be addressed solely by governments or operators or civil society. This needs to be a shared goal. We must all work together for connectivity. I wish you all an insightful and rewarding conference. Thank you.
These people are too clever. Musa, 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 ukungixoxela ingane emini ngizomila izimpondo. Kwasukela emkhulu, kwakhona isilwane esikhulu okwakuthiwa uchwepheshe. Lesilwane sahlakaniphe ngokweqile, sike safika kwezinye ixakekile, zixhumana ngokuthumana nangokumemezana mayifuna ukusondelana. Wayesethi lo galakajana uzokwenza bexhumane bengabonani, bebingelelane bengakhombani. Athi uzokwenza impilo ibe lula nakuyithandani mayiqaqene, uzophosa uthando phezulu bese ikwazi ukuthintana emoyeni icositoshi ngomyeni. Athi angizukugcina lapho lento yokuxhumana, ngizoyifaka ephaketheni bese ngibiza umakhala ekhukhwini. Athi angizukugcina lapho, ngizobanika izinombolo ezihlukile ngamunye. Omunye udinga inombolo yomunye ukuze athinte inombolo yomunye, kuyomela adinga. Athi umkhulu, hayi, these people are too clever. Lengane ke ixoxa umfana exoxela iqhegu liphika linqabashiya, hayi mzukulu unamanga. Ngathi mkhulu, itechnology izoghilela izimanga. Bheka, nginokukhuluma nomuntu ekwelinye izwe ngimbuka kuyo kule nkunzi malanga. Athi umkhulu engathi usunehaba. Ngathi akugcini lapho, nginokuxhumana ney'nkulungwane zabantu ngesikhathi esisodwa mangithanda. Uchwepheshe ke usongile isikhathi sokulanda. Sondelelana mkhulu ngikuhlebele ngiyakulanda. Uyabona wena ugogo wamthola emfuleni emva kokumshela iminyaka. Mina wami umaqondana ngimthole ey'nkundleni zokuxhumana, nakhona ngizikhathela nje iningini ebelikhona. Athi umkhulu hayi khona. These people are too clever. Musa, 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 ukungixoxela ingane emini ngizomila izimpondo. Kwasukela emkhulu, kwakhona isilwane esikhulu okwakuthiwa uchwepheshe. NgoJoji ondlebe esikhanyilanga bathi technology, isilwane sakamhlola, umhlaba ngizowuphendula. Lethi imibuzo nezinkinga ngizoxazulula. Ungidiza kwenyoni emoyeni, impilo ngizoyenza ibe lula. Hayi, mkhulu Musa ukhala. These people are too clever. Musa, 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 ukungixoxela ingane emini ngizomila izimpondo. Ngathi halala, 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 halala ngeNingizimu Afrika, halala izwe elifuye ochwepheshe abahlakaniphile driver. Ngiyasala la, ngibonisa umnotho wezwe usukhula ngamawala. Hayi, angithi sesiyakwazi namanye amazwe ukuhwebelana. Omkhulu Musa ukhala. Ukuhlakanipha kwamongameli wethu Ramaphosa inkunzi malanga oke waphatha izwe konyakaza umhlaba, oke waphatha izwe ochwepheshe bakhula ngokwanda, oke waphatha izwe umnotho wakhula ngamandla. Hayi bo uRamaphosa ugila izimanga, mkhulu Musa ukhala. Nginokumthakazela ngelikangqondo mangimbongela. Phindela esikoleni mkhulu Mufula ukudela ngokuzibonela. Ngetechnology impilo iyashelela, ngetechnology impilo iyashelela, ngetechnology impilo iyashelela, ngetechnology impilo iyashelela. Ngikhuluma ngepuki isisegcwala ngokuhlakanipha. Athi umkhulu yabona ke tostos yaphela. Ngathi mkhulu akusiyo ingane wane le. These people are too clever. Hayi.
South Africa rejoined the ITU in 1994, soon after the dawn of the new democracy. We were warmly welcomed by the international community and received great support from the ITU. The man who steers the ship is not only a global leader in the ICT space, but a brother and a friend to us in South Africa. It gives me great pleasure to call on the Secretary General of the ITU, Mr. Zhao, to take to the podium.
Thank you very much for a nice word, my dear sister. Your Excellency, President of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, Honorable Minister Siyabonga Kwele, Honorable Minister Nomvula Mokonyane, Acting Premier of KwaZulu-Natal Province, Sika Zikalala, Excellencies, Ministers, Vice Ministers from continent of Africa and from the rest of the world, Head of regulatory agencies of ITU members, CEOs, dear colleagues, my dear elected colleague officials, Deputy Secretary General of ITU, directors of 3 bureaus, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. iTU is very honored and proud today to bring one of our flagship events to a city, a country, and a continent on the cusp of a new digital era. I found memories of iTU Africa Telecom 1998, which was held in Johannesburg. 20 years later, we are very pleased to be back in South Africa and to be here in the magnificent city of Durban. At this special moment, I wish to pay my respect to Mr. Nelson Mandela, a global icon, a son of the Africa soil, and a strong supporter of iTU. This year, Madiba would be 100 years old. Shortly after South Africa joined the iTU in 1994, Mr. Mandela took part in iTU Telecom World 1995 in Geneva. He traveled to Geneva to address the event. In his speech, Nelson Mandela stressed the need to work towards eliminating the divide between what he called information-rich and information-poor countries. He talked about the unprecedented window of opportunity opened by the information revolution. Many years later, at the iTU Telecom World 2009, Mr. Mandela gave us a video reminding us ICTs have the potential to enable us to solve many of the critical problems confronting us. As Mr. Mandela once said, information and communication technologies are the single most powerful tool we have for human progress. This message was echoed at the iTU's World Telecommunication Development Conference here in Buenos Aires, October last year, by the message from United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, who said that ICT is a powerful tool to help us achieve each and every single SDG. So iTU will remember the late President, Mr. Nelson Mandela, forever. Mr. President, you have made the digital revolution a centerpiece of your vision for South Africa. In a stirring State of the Nation address earlier this year, you talked about a year of change, renewal, and hope. Rest assured, your call to seize the opportunities of rapid advances in information and communication technologies has been heard, from the Golden Mile of Durban to the shores of Lake Geneva. President, ladies and gentlemen, 1 week ago, from 3rd to 4th of September in Beijing, the long-expected Beijing Summit of Forum on China-Africa Cooperation was held, which was jointly managed by co-chair, President of China, Mr. Xi Jinping, and the President of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. Heads of states, of government, of 53 countries of the Africa continent attended the summit. It was a great conference with a great success. iTU was proud to be invited to attend as an observer, and I participated at this event. I was very pleased to note that in his keynote speech, President Xi Jinping launched 8 initiatives. In his first initiative, he encouraged the Chinese to increase its investment in Africa and to support SMEs. In his second initiative on infrastructure, he listed ICT together with transport, energy, and water as priority areas. At the end of his speech, President Xi emphasized his wish to focus on use of Africa for the future. In the main output document, Beijing Action Plan 2019-2021, cooperation on ICTs is further elaborated in 4 paragraphs, 335 to 338. While in the paragraph 338, China and Africa both expressed their common wishes to strengthen their cooperation on ICT through iTU. I'm extremely happy with those messages and initiatives. I take this opportunity to express my sincere congratulations to co-chairs, President Xi Jinping of China, President Ramaphosa of South Africa, together with the Chairman of Africa Union, President of Rwanda, Mr. Paul Kagame, for their wonderful leadership. I wish also to congratulate and thank all ICT ministers of Africa and China for their efforts to bring ICT to such a high position during the process of the summit. iTU will work closely with China and Africa to implement the decision agreed by the summit. I also do hope similar outputs could be achieved for the other partners of Africa on the issue of ICT development. The forced industrialization and the digital transformation that we are seeing here in Durban is spreading across the entire continent. iTU congratulates South Africa on signing the Africa Continent Free Trade Area, one market, one of the largest free trade areas in the world. We also commend South Africa for joining the Smart Africa project initiated by a few Africa states 5 years ago. Friday this week, South Africa will host here in Durban the annual meeting of BRICS communications ministers. I'm confident that all those great efforts by South Africa will have a positive impact on digital transformation and investment in ICT infrastructure. Over the next 4 days, we are going to have the opportunity to put infrastructure, investment, innovation, and inclusivity in the spotlight. These 4 I's are all critical to bridging the digital divide and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. iTU Telecom World 2018 is a platform for everyone to forge new ICT partnerships and create new ICT business opportunities. Let's use iTU Telecom World 2018 for smart digital development. Let us all work together to ensure a smart and inclusive digital future for all in Africa, in the world of our planet. iTU Telecom World 2018 is the last major iTU gathering before we will meet at the Plenipotentiary Conference in Dubai next month. PP18 is an opportunity for African countries to make their voice count and play an important role in shaping the environment that will lead the development of digital technology into the next decade and beyond. I do hope that PP18 will further strengthen iTU's mission to develop ICT and engage with SMEs. So at the end of my speech, I have a message for all the young entrepreneurs who are here today. You are the hope of a nation, an entire continent, and our world. iTU Telecom World 2018 is your opportunity to show the world what our tech SMEs can do to help to create jobs, transform people's lives, and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals right here at this platform for the African continent, for the world. I'm looking forward to the live pitching and the selections of winners of our SMEs in the award ceremony at the end of this week. Before I close, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our host, President Cyril Ramaphosa, for your leadership, for your support, the government and the people of South Africa, the city of Durban, and the province. Let me thank all the ministers, vice ministers, heads of telecom agencies, and industry leaders and SMEs, and all participants who are here with us today. And my special thanks to our sponsors, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, MTA, and the numerous representatives of industries who have supported this event, either through support of the host country arrangement or through iTU. And we are very proud with the iTU Telecom 2018 be opened today. So I wish you all a successful and productive iTU Telecom World 2018. Thank you very much. I think that is your part. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zhao. Ladies and gentlemen, may I then invite the Minister of Telecommunications, Minister Siyabonga Cwele, to the podium for him to invite the President of the Republic. Thank you very much.
Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa is the driver of the new dawn that is characterized by the spirit of unity, renewal, and hope for all South Africans. He comes from our biggest township, Soweto, in Johannesburg. He's a seasoned student activist, lawyer, unionist, business entrepreneur, and a political leader of our liberation. In 1991, he was elected the Secretary General and Mandela the President of the African National Congress in this beautiful city of eThekwini in Durban. His negotiating skills helped our nation to navigate smooth transition from apartheid past to a democratic breakthrough of 1994. He then led the constitution writing process, which is now the backbone of our democracy. He is one of the architects of our new Vision 2030, the National Development Plan of South Africa. He is a keen reader, a good sportsman. His tireless fight against the ills of apartheid, such as poverty, unemployment, inequality, and corruption, is bringing new hope and optimism to our youth and all South Africans to find unity and strength in our diversity. Ladies and gentlemen, let us rise and welcome His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of the Republic of South Africa, to address the iTU Telecom world. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Program Director, Minister Nomvula Paula Mokonyane, Acting Premier of our province of KwaZulu-Natal, MEC Sihle Zigalala, the Secretary General of the iTU, Mr. Holland Zhao, the Minister Siyabonga Cwele, who is your host, ministers and deputy ministers from South Africa, various African countries, and indeed the rest of the world who have graced us here with their presence, for which we thank them. The AU Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished delegates, business leaders, and owners of small and medium enterprises, esteemed guests, and ladies and gentlemen. It is for me a great privilege to have been invited to this August gathering of people who are involved in the most important sector of various economies around the world, the telecom sector. I also feel privileged to have been given the opportunity to walk around to the various stands that I had time to visit, to feed my youthful curiosity and excitement at seeing some of the gadgets and developments and innovations that are present here. This is a time when I wish I did not have handlers who would want me just to spend 2 or 3 minutes at a stand and start pushing me away. This is a time when I wish I could have stayed here much longer, because if I was not belabored with this job, I would be there with you playing with the various toys that you all have the pleasure of playing with. So you are much luckier than I am, and I envy you enormously. It is an honor as the government and the people of South Africa to host this event for the first time on the African continent. And I can say without any equivocation or doubt that we as Africans collectively feel really proud and honored that the International Telecommunications Union, which is the oldest in the UN family, has chosen to come to Africa, and particularly to come to South Africa and the province of KwaZulu-Natal to hold this event. For us, the iTU Telecom World provides a guide and in some ways a campus to the future. It gives us a campus to be able to navigate this new, bright and brave world that many countries are traversing as they begin to understand and get to grips with the meaning of the new technological changes that all of you are charting, creating, and taking the world forward with. The deliberations that will take place here concern the economy and society of tomorrow that we are building today. So as you sit here and you deliberate on issues, do bear in mind that what you're talking about in the end does have a bearing on the future of our economies as well as the well-being of society and humanity. We are at the dawn of a digital revolution that will reshape the way we work, the way we live, and indeed the way we relate to each other. I often try to find a way of understanding new things that explode in our countries or in the world, new things that affect and seek to improve the lives of people. And in trying to understand them, I always try to find out where do they come from? Where do they originate from? And John Reeder, who wrote a book called Africa, A Biography of a Continent, always helps me to understand some of the origins of what is happening around us. He writes in his book about the origins of humanity, but I relate it to some of the things that are happening around us. He writes, about 100,000 years ago, he says, groups of modern humans left Africa for the first time, and they progressively, as they moved, colonized the rest of the world. He continues, the innovative talent they had developed in Africa carried them into every exploitable niche of the world, close quotes. We all agree that it is the innovative talent that has been developed that is driving technological change that we are all seeing today. We can all testify that technological change is proceeding at a pace far greater than anything humanity has ever experienced before. Just like the innovative talent that John Reeder speaks about that had been developed on the African continent, that enabled those who left this continent 100,000 years ago to go to every exploitable niche of the world, armed with this innovative talent that enabled them to utilize the technology of those days, that enabled them to utilize the knowledge that they had derived from this continent. They were able to improve their lives. They were able to harness various technologies and use them to get ahead. Forums like this enable not only us to anticipate technological change, but also to understand its origin so that we can harness it for the advancement of humanity. This we can do because our forebears used the innovative talent that they had developed on this continent to advance humanity. It is through bodies like the International Telecommunications Union that a digital agenda for inclusivity, sustainability, and development can be crafted. We have the means and the responsibility to direct the evolution of information and communications technology towards the achievement of a better life for all the peoples of the world. It is our task to ensure that the fourth industrial revolution improves the human condition, and that as it improves the human condition, it must do it on an inclusive basis so that no one is left behind. It is also our task to ensure that this digital revolution does respond to the needs of the developing world and its economies. This is where I like the slogan that I saw printed on one of the billboards outside here, which says, anything is possible when everyone is connected. It must enhance the growth of economies and contribute in overcoming some of the challenges that the world faces today, which is unemployment, inequality, and poverty as well. It must also bridge the digital divide and not widen it, so that as we develop technologies, we must bear in mind that these technologies must not be the preserve of the elite or elite areas, but they must be technologies that are going to be utilized by all. It must employ the latest in communications technology and data analytics to solve some of the world's greatest development challenges. The decisions that we make now as individual countries and as a global collective will determine whether the fourth industrial revolution is the opportunity that so many people anticipate to be a moment, to be a conjuncture that is really going to change their lives, or a threat that so many people currently fear. As our economies become increasingly dependent on information and communication technology, it is critical that governments work more closely with industry to maximize the value of digital innovations. And it is pleasing that today, at this forum or conference, there are a number of government representatives in the form of ministers and their key officials. There are also a number of regulators from a number of countries, and that there are also a number of business people, big and small. And I'm sure that there are quite a number of people from community-based organizations as well who are here. And I am yet to see whether labor is also represented here. It is equally critical that both governments and industry develop effective collaborative relationships with the communities they are both expected to serve. It is such relationships that are required, for example, for the accelerated rollout of broadband in areas such as rural areas and low-cost housing locations that are generally seen as not being economically viable. And yet, the presence of broadband in such areas is vital for the viability of the economy. And I'm sure that in the stands here, there are many others who probably are demonstrating one of the capabilities that I saw one of the sponsors here, MTN, demonstrating. They were showcasing a capability that will enable the rollout of broadband or telecommunications capability in rural areas that is powered by solar energy. I found that most impressive, and I'm sure that many others here are doing the same. The rapid expansion of broadband reach and accessibility is a priority in our own country, but it is also a priority for a number of countries on the African continent, and indeed in many other developing countries as well. Because that is the real key as a determinant of economic inclusion and growth. There are currently 20 million South Africans who do not use the internet for a range of reasons such as unaffordability, lack of internet-enabled devices, and lack of access. Now, this is a challenge that has to be solved. At the same time, there are about 87% of households in South Africa who have access to mobile phones and this presents us with a great opportunity to overcome digital exclusion and to drive inclusive growth and innovation. Government has recently decided to accelerate the licensing of radio frequency spectrum in the 2.6 gigahertz, the 700 megahertz, and the 800 megahertz bands to hasten the growth of mobile communications. Well, I thought that would elicit much better applause than what you are giving now. We have finalized consultations with the telecommunications sector, and these were deep and thoroughgoing consultations, as well as other stakeholders to ensure allocation of spectrum that will reduce barriers to entry, promote competition, and reduce costs to consumers. I can say if there has ever been a thorough consultation process that Minister Kwele and the Deputy Minister undertook, this is the one area, and of course the DG and many other officials, this is the one area where they painstakingly ensured that there would be consultation. And this is the way we do things in South Africa. As we flight or we put across a piece of legislation, we've made it our task, and in some ways it is part of our DNA, that we will consult with role players and stakeholders and give them the opportunity to make inputs, to make improvements, and where we disagree, we will set out the reasons why we disagree. But government is determined that in improving this sector, in injecting more life and growth in this sector, we will continue with our consultation process. And I want to make it clear to all role players that the door of our government is forever opened for discussions, for collaboration, and consultations. So you are always invited to come talk to us. And together, we want to grow this sector. We want you to make your views known so that together we can see a growing sector that will include all the key role players. Following Cabinet decision last month, our regulator, ICASA, is now preparing to license available high-demand spectrum. In addition, we have begun work in preparation for the 5G spectrum licensing as part of our efforts to build a smarter digital economy. Now, I had a taste of this 5G, and I can tell you that it is most forward-looking, fantastic. I, however, tried to score a goal in the goalpost, but I was not able to. So all I ask for, please enable me to score a goal in spite of the 5G. So we say forward with 5G because we are going to spread 5G. And thank you to our partners that you are going to take up this capability and spread it amongst our people to make their lives a lot better. Earlier this year, we announced plans to establish a Digital Industrial Revolution Commission to ensure we are in a position to seize the opportunities of the rapid advances in information and communication technology. And I would like, and this is to the Minister, I would like this to be done sooner rather than later. And in fact, it should be done in the next few days. We are informed by research that associates investment in ICTs with such economic benefits as high productivity, lower costs, new economic opportunities, job creation, innovation, and increased trade. Information and communication technology also helps provide better services in health, in education, and strengthen social cohesion. This was also demonstrated by a number of small and medium enterprises, some of which I was most impressed with, was how young doctors have come up with a technology to enhance the health sector. And I say great work to them, because it demonstrates that the youth and indeed a sector like health is coming to the party and utilizing these capabilities. Our work in this area coincides with agreement on the establishment of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which will create a single market of over 1 billion people. At the plenipotentiary of the African Telecommunications Union held last month in Nairobi, South Africa was mandated to lead a 5-country committee to coordinate the development of the continental response to the 4th Industrial Revolution. This is a task we undertake in support of the African Union's Agenda 2063, which seeks a continent with diverse and inclusive economies, advanced infrastructure, and a skilled and capable population to be created. In promoting this vision, we see a key role for technology. We, however, see the role of technology, which is underpinned by a number of other enabling pillars. And the first pillar that I see is that the technology that we are unfolding should ensure that women and women-led businesses play a critical role. And one says this advisedly because women in many countries in the world are often left behind. They are often relegated to the back. They are often given menial roles and tasks. And we are saying if technology has to have any meaning to the people of any country, it must make sure that it places women in the forefront so that they can play a critical role in the technological advancement of any country. And secondly, we see the innovative participation of young people. The future belongs to the youth, and the youth are full of ideas, they are innovative, they are creative, and they must be given space to be able to exhibit their fearlessness when it comes to technological advancement. And therefore, as we embrace and develop technology, let us make sure that young people become the key players as well. Thirdly, the third one, in order for these technological developments to really gain traction, they must be driven by the small, medium enterprise sector. Small businesses must be at the heart of these technologies. So for me, those are the 3 pillars that should really drive technological advancement. The big companies will always look after themselves. Men will always look after themselves. We need to use the 3 pillars to enable technological advancement in every country in the world to gain traction. And if we're talking about the 4th Industrial Revolution, let us make sure that it is supported by these 3 pillars. If any one of these 3 pillars is not there, the 4th Industrial Revolution will definitely fail. It is precisely this the developmental role of technology as underpinned by these three pillars that South Africa's founding president, Nelson Mandela, affirmed when he addressed the 7th World Telecommunications Conference and Exhibition in Geneva in 1995. It was the first year that South Africa participated in the global event as a full member of the ITU. In his speech, President Mandela said it was crucial for South Africa and the entire African continent to be part of the organization that would drive international policy, technological development, cooperation, and skills transfer. Now, in the year of the centenary of his birth and the birth of another icon in our country, Albertina Sisulu, one of the leading mothers of our nation, let us be guided by the vision that Nelson Mandela had of a world in which everyone is connected, not only by technology, but also by a common humanity. Since rejoining the ITU, South Africa has worked with other member countries to advocate for the transformation of the institution and the entire global communications landscape to promote equality and inclusivity. In the World Summit of Information Society held in Geneva in 2003 and in Tunis in 2005, we advocated for a people-centered and development-oriented information society where citizens' lives are enhanced by ICTs and member states are recognized on an equal footing. We continue to champion the internet as a tool for social and economic development. We support universal broadband and universal broadcasting to connect all citizens and ensure that they have access to information. Most recently, we have advocated for the safety of the ICT infrastructure and secure use by all online. Important to Africa and developing countries is the need for countries to share manufacturing and localization opportunities to allow equal access and shared growth throughout the world. We say this so that some of these capabilities must not be the sole fiefdom of certain countries only. It must also be available to all other countries, and we believe this is possible. We support equitable access to global ICT resources, such as orbital slots, satellites, and governance of the internet. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, we firmly believe that there is a strong correlation between innovation and growth. One of the key interventions our economy needs to foster growth is investment from our local investors as well as investors from other countries. Our country recently embarked on an investment drive to attract $100 billion in new investment in our country over the next 5 years, a portion coming from our own country and another portion coming from other countries. This is part of a broader effort to set the economy on a new growth path, on a new employment path, and a new transformation path. We will be holding an investment conference on the 25th to the 27th of October, where we will showcase the country's lucrative investment offerings. We are determined that the ICT sector be an integral part of this investment drive, with a focus on infrastructure investment, e-commerce, local manufacturing of equipment and innovation. South Africa has demonstrated its capabilities in the development and the deployment of information and communications technology. A number of other African countries, our sister African countries, have also demonstrated the same and are continuing to show excellence in a number of areas. We expect that the investment conference will help to demonstrate our country's great potential for investment, but these investments should also be located in a number of other African countries, because Africa as a continent is open for business, and it is the best next thing that is about to happen to the whole world. In conclusion, we are certain that Telecom World 2018 will produce innovative solutions to societal challenges and establish a platform for greater inclusive growth. And I say this advisedly because participating here is the brain's trust of the telecoms world in the whole globe. And you're all gathered here from 91 or so countries as the best that your countries can give in the telecoms world. And we expect great suggestions, great innovations from yourselves so that we can improve the lot of humanity in the world. I thank our industry partners as well as state-owned enterprises that heeded the call to support government in hosting this event for the first time on African soil. I also want to thank the sponsors from here at home and from far afield, as far as Saudi Arabia and others, MTN and a number of others. We thank you for having extended your generous hand to support this very important conference. Special thanks to the Secretary General, the entire leadership and the officials of the iTU for having shown confidence in our country to host this event. To our guests, the ministers and deputy ministers who have come from various countries that I had the occasion to greet earlier, we thank you. We are deeply honored by your presence here, and we are delighted to have been able to welcome you to the shores of our province here in KwaZulu-Natal. It is therefore my pleasure to officially declare the iTU Telecom World 2018 open. I thank you all.